everyone, my name is Liz Kincaid and I am a second year student in Elon's physical therapy program, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about mindfulness. I'm super excited and thankful for the opportunity to do this with Elon CARES. Mindfulness is something that I have recently implemented into my life within the past year, and it's been super helpful, especially with everything that happened with the past year with COVID. I was introduced to mindfulness probably about 3 to 4 years ago by one of my mentors back where I'm from in Virginia, and at the time I just was like, I don't think this is something that I really want to put my time and energy to. I feel like I'm just sitting here and breathing and not really doing anything. I felt like I was wasting my time. But within the past year, when I really took the time to learn more about it and really try it, there's just so many benefits for practicing it, and I realized that with practicing it. So yeah, that's kind of my experience with it within the past couple of years. Why I love it, I'm gonna kind of use this saying that's one of my favorite sayings ever. I don't remember where I heard it from or who said it, but it's stuck with me ever since I heard it. And the saying is, the only permanence we have in our lives is impermanence. And so essentially what that means to me is that the only constant thing that we can rely on is change. And change is something that's completely inevitable for everyone in every season of life, no matter who you are, and it's going to look different for everyone at every different season and phase of life. I mean, it could be a new job, it could be a new school, a new family dynamic, a new relationship, a new boss. There's so many different things, and with change usually comes stress or anxiety or just really unpleasant feelings and this uncomfortable feeling. And that's completely natural and normal for us as humans to experience, because as humans we are creatures of habit, and we just form these habits and these routines, and once we get into them and we're pushed outside of our comfort zone, it's just uncomfortable and we don't typically like it. So mindfulness for me has been a way to handle those different aspects of life. I guess just be able to handle them. It gives me that mental endurance. So for me, it is like a mental exercise, as obviously I'm in physical therapy school. I care about, physically taking care of my body, but I felt like I wasn't doing anything to mentally take care of my body as well. So mindfulness gives me that, and that is why I love mindfulness. Okay, so now we're gonna get into what mindfulness is and what it's not. So to give you more of like a formal definition, mindfulness is the purposeful awareness of a present here and now moment without judgment and without criticism. So the two main things to take away from that are the purposeful awareness and without judgment, without criticism. So I guess 4 things, but you can combine them. So those are the two main takeaways from that formal definition. And now we're going to kind of get into some myths around meditation, and these are all things that like I had said in the beginning, where I just thought it was a waste of time, and I didn't really understand it. And these are all things that I believed about meditation before I really learned and took the time to learn about it. So the first one is that meditation is just sitting there thinking about nothing. For me, the image that always would come up in my mind is just like a person crisscross applesauce with their hands on their lap and just thinking about nothing for hours or however long they sit there for. And mindfulness is the exact opposite of that. It's, of course, you can do a practice where you are sitting there like that if that's what works best for you and if that's what's comfortable for you, but it's not sitting there and thinking about nothing. It's having that purposeful awareness and focus of attention on something specific. And we'll get into different types of practices later, but those different things could be like focus of the breath, focus of your feelings, emotions, or thoughts, or a body scan, focus on your body, just to name a few. So it's not that you're thinking about nothing, you're having that purposeful awareness and focus of attention to something specific. And then whenever your mind wanders away from that, because naturally that's what we're programmed to do as humans, our minds wander all the time, you bring back that focused attention to whatever it is you're focusing on, but without judgment and without criticism. So that's the first one. The second one is that it kind of ties in with the first one, is that when you're practicing mindfulness or when you're meditating, you're just completely zoning out from the world and you're shutting off all things. You're just zoned out, head's in space, nothing's going on. And again, it's the exact opposite of that. You're really zoning in. So instead of zoning out, you're zoning in, that focus of attention again to something very specific, again, of your choice. And then lastly, the last myth, and this is something I really struggled with when I had my perception of mindfulness, when I didn't really know much about it, was that it's only for people who are super positive and super happy all the time, and they don't have any stressors or anything like that. And that's not true at all. It's practicing mindfulness doesn't put us at an advantage to not experience negative things or negative emotions or negative feelings or just hardships of life. It makes us better equipped to be able to handle those things that happen to us and be able to respond to those situations instead of react. So those are 3 common myths about mindfulness. So now that we've talked about what mindfulness is, what it isn't, why I love mindfulness, we're going to get into the benefits of mindfulness and different types of practices and techniques you can use to practice mindfulness. So you could have a whole separate episode on either of these topics because there's just so many benefits of mindfulness. So we're just going to do a easy little list to name a few things. And then there's also just so many different types of practices out there for mindfulness. So for the benefits, there have been so many studies, like scientific studies with evidence and research, all the good stuff, showing that practicing mindfulness for, of course, a certain amount of time during the day, and that varies with studies, but all the studies have a common thing of that they have shown to reduce activity in the brain with areas associated with negative emotions. So that's a plus. Along with that, it's been shown to decrease levels of anxiety, of stress, of depression, and negative affect. It's been shown to increase the quality of our relationships. So whether that's your relationship with your spouse, relationship with a family member, relationship with your friends. And going off of that, it's also been shown to improve our emotional resiliency and our emotional responses to situations. So something that I mentioned earlier is that it gives us an ability to respond rather than react to situations. And I think this kind of ties into the fact of that it improves the quality of our relationships, because I don't know about you guys, but I know I've been in situations where maybe something upset me, or we'll just go with that situation. Maybe something upset me and I said something that I obviously did not mean at all. And that's reacting to a situation rather than responding. So for example, maybe your partner makes you mad and you just no filter, snap, yell at them, and then there's a fight or whatever else happens. And instead of that happening, you have that brief moment of, okay, this just happened. Okay, this is what I can say, instead of, yes, I'm feeling this, but I can respond in a better way. So that is a huge benefit of mindfulness. And that's probably the first thing that I noticed when I started really
practicing, is my ability to respond rather than react to things. Some other great benefits is it improves our compassion for ourselves and for others. It improves our ability to focus, which makes a lot of sense. It's really that practice of focus of attention. Let's see. Those are the ones coming to the top of my head. But lots of good things to practice of why we should practice mindfulness. So going off of that, we'll get into some different types of techniques that you can use to practice mindfulness. And we'll start with really, I guess I would call it the foundation type of practice, which is the focus of your breath. So it's like really focusing on your inhaling, your exhaling, the sensations of breathing, and the awareness of your breath and your breathing. And then going off of that, there can be the focus of thoughts or feelings or emotions. And a good tool that I've used for that is called the RAIN tool. And so we'll go into what that stands for. The R stands for recognize, the A stands for allow,
the I for investigate, and N for not identify. So I'll briefly explain kind of what those mean and what that looks like. So with the recognize for the R, it's recognizing whatever situation you're in or whatever the issue is or the problem that you feel like you're having. So you're recognizing that. The A is then for allowing whatever that situation is or issue or problem, etc., to be whatever it is and just allowing it and being okay with it, which can be really hard to just be okay with a situation if it's something that's stressing you out or making you upset, etc. So it's being okay with that, allowing it to be there, accepting it. And then the I is the investigate part. So this is where you're gonna really investigate those emotions and the feelings that you're having. And while you're doing all this, you're doing it, with compassion for yourself, and you're doing it with kindness and with an open mind, an open heart, all of those things. So you're investigating, okay, why is this situation making me feel like this? Why am I feeling upset? What's making me feel the way I'm feeling? And then the last part, N, which I think is the most important part, is the not identify. And so once you've kind of explored all of those things, you've recognized, you've allowed, you've investigated, and then once you've come to your kind of conclusion, I guess, of what you're feeling and what's going on, you have to separate from those things. So knowing that you yourself are not the situation that you're in, you're separate from whatever it is you're going through, and what you're going through is okay, and it's okay to feel however you're feeling, but knowing that that doesn't, it's not who you are. So that's the not identifying. So that's the RAIN tool. Another quick tool you can use, it's really good for anxiety, is it's something really quick that you can do anywhere. You can do it in your head, you could say it out loud, is the 5-finger tool. And with that, you're just using, you can count down in your head, you can actually count in your hands if you'd like, and it's using the sensations of where you are, the moment around you. So you're naming one thing that you can see, one thing that you can smell, like I can smell this wonderful coconut candle right now, one thing that you can feel, something that you can taste, and then something that you can hear. So when I've used this, it really helps calm me down, and sometimes in situations, it kind of just takes you away from whatever anxious thoughts you're having or stress you're having, and takes your focus of attention to just where you are in the present moment. Really just helps me get grounded to where I am. So that's a quick, really easy, informal type of practice. Going off of that, we'll go into informal practices. So you don't have to you don't have to do a guided meditation every time you're practicing mindfulness, because it is that just purposeful awareness of something and focus of attention. So you can do informal practices throughout the day, and that might look like maybe as you're washing the dishes, maybe okay, this will take me 5 to 10 minutes or however long it might take you. While I'm here, I'm gonna really just focus on my breath, or I'm gonna really just focus on the feeling of the water on my hands while I'm washing the dishes. And then anytime your mind wanders, again, just bringing it back to whatever you chose for that focus of attention. So that'd be an example of an informal practice. You could maybe put a sticky note on your sink anytime you wash your hands after you go to the bathroom, to just take a mindful moment and focus on your breath while you're washing your hands. So you can incorporate things like that throughout your day, and that really helps too if you have a really busy schedule, because feeling like finding time it can be stressful, and it can add more stress to your day. So those informal practices are really, really nice to have in your pocket. Another type of practice is a body scan. So with that is a really good way to kind of reduce stress at bedtime, to help you relax and just get really centered in your body. And what it is just focusing on your body and what you're feeling. And you can start from your head down to your toes and toes back up, vice versa. Another form of mindfulness is compassion. So I mentioned one of those benefits is compassion for yourself and compassion for others. And this is a type of mindfulness that has been really beneficial for me, especially as a grad student. I'm super competitive, always hard on myself.
And this form of meditation has been really helpful for me to use to be kind to myself and just remember to always be kind to others. So that's also a form of meditation. The last one, actually not the last one, there's just so many. Hannah Cook, shout out to Hannah. She did an episode on gratitude, and that's a form of mindfulness as well. And it can be anything. It can look like journaling, like she said. It could be going on a walk of gratitude. All of those things can be a use of mindfulness practice, because you're focusing that attention on something that you're thankful for, or multiple things that you're thankful for. And it's just great for you. It makes you feel happy. Shout out to Andy. She did an episode on yoga, and that's another form of mindfulness. Yoga, Tai Chi, those are both two formal practices of mindfulness. And another big thing is just playing a sport. I know I played basketball growing up, and when you are kind of, I guess, zoned in, you're in the zone is what people call it with athletes and athletics. That's that, like, you're locked in, your attention isn't anywhere else but that moment. And sometimes you don't even remember like what happens after that. That's that mindfulness mindset of being completely locked in that moment. So those are lots of different types of practices of mindfulness. There's also just guided meditations, and that's what we're going to do here in just a few minutes. And you can find those on apps, free apps like Headspace and Calm. You can find them on podcasts on Spotify, Apple, really all over the place. YouTube has plenty of guided meditations and lots of variety of different things that you can try. Okay, so now we are actually going to do a guided meditation that I'm going to lead us through. And it's going to be just a quick 3 to 5 minutes. So if you've done a meditation or practiced mindfulness before, this is not going to be anything super new to you. But if you haven't, it might be something new. It might feel a little odd, or like I said, your mind might be going all over the place. And if it does, that's okay. So you don't really need anything. Wherever you are is totally fine. Just sit comfortably wherever you are. You can sit with your hands in your lap, you can at your side. You can stand if that's what you prefer. If you're standing, I would stand next to something that you could hold on to for balance, because we'll be closing our eyes or just kind of lowering our gaze to the floor. And other than that, you don't need anything. Just sit and relax, and I hope you enjoy. Start by sitting comfortably or standing if you prefer, and close your eyes or lower your gaze toward the floor. Breathe as you normally would and focus your attention on the sensation of your breath. Breathing in through the nostrils and out through the mouth. With each breath, allowing the lungs to fill and expand with air. You may want to place one hand on your chest and one on your belly. In doing this, you can notice the rise and fall of your chest with each breath. Noticing how with each rise, with every breath, your lungs fill and expand with air. You may notice the air as it moves through your nose and your mouth with each breath. Almost immediately, you may find that your mind has begun to wander away from the breath. This is okay and normal, both in meditation and in life. Once you've noticed that your mind has wandered, simply redirect your attention back to the feeling of each breath. In doing this, do it with kindness and without judgment or criticism. When something else catches your attention, maybe a sound, a thought, a feeling,
or an emotion, notice that it's happened and let it go as best you were able to, bringing your focus back to the sensation of each inhale and exhale of your breath. Notice how you may be feeling throughout the meditation. You may be feeling calm, sleepy, relaxed, or fidgety, and letting that feeling be as it is by bringing your attention back towards your breath. Without judgment and without criticism. Breathing as you normally would and focusing your attention on the sensations of your breath. Air in through the nostrils and out through the mouth. Focusing on the sensation of the air as you breathe in and out, allowing your lungs to fill and your chest to expand. And once you're ready, begin to open your eyes. Okay, so I hope everybody enjoyed that quick practice. I hope it was relaxing and peaceful and just beneficial for you in whatever manner or way. So to kind of finish up the episode, I'm gonna go over some common obstacles that you might face if you practice mindfulness, or if you don't practice mindfulness right now and after watching this you want to practice mindfulness, hopefully. These are all things that I still struggle with trying to implement it into my life. So the first one I'll go over is feeling like you're kind of bored during the practice. And what I would recommend for that kind of type of feeling is maybe just trying something different. Maybe figuring out what you like the best, what type of technique you like the most, or maybe if you just like all the techniques, just switching it up and not doing the same thing every day, or whatever many times you choose to practice. That's something that's been helpful for me. Another thing is setting our goals too high. And this was a big thing for me when I first really wanted all about the mindfulness and really wanted to hop on the train. I set aside like, I'm gonna do 20 minutes every single day. And for me, as someone who has never done this before, never practiced, well, not now, but before, had never practiced before, 20 minutes was a lot in a day that I'm very busy. So when I didn't reach that goal, then I would have that feeling of, I didn't reach my goal, I suck, which isn't very mindful or kind to myself. And it can kind of just take us like one step forward, setting a great goal, and then 2 steps back if that goal isn't achievable for you. So being mindful of how you set your goals. So what I ended up doing was setting my time smaller. So I started out by doing just 1 minute a day, or doing informal practices throughout the day, and then worked that up as I went. So now I'm up to 5 minutes a day, which still is not a lot of time, but the best thing I was told was the only bad practice is the one you didn't do. So whatever time you can fit in is good time. So that's that tip. Another one is feeling like it's a chore and it's something that you have to do. For that, the best thing
I would say, is to have your intentions really, really clear. So know your why, as to why do you want to practice mindfulness. There's so many benefits, and it's not just all about the benefits, it's about how it makes you feel. You know, what do you want to get out of this practice? And once I shift my perspective to that type of thinking, it then shifts to a thought of, oh, this is something that I really want to do. It's not something that I have to do. It's not a chore. It's not an obligation. It's something that I get to take the time out of my day to give myself this time and mentally exercise my brain. At least that's my thinking. So those are just some common obstacles and ways to overcome them, and at least the ways I like to overcome them. I hope that all this has been helpful, and I hope that if you don't practice mindfulness, that hopefully you will. Thanks for listening, guys, and taking the time out of your day to listen to this episode. I am, again, super thankful for Elon CARES and the mission that they have, and allowing me to share one of my passions with all of you guys. If you already practice mindfulness, I would love if you comment below on, you know, how you liked the video, or maybe what you do for your practice, or tips or anything else that might be helpful for other people who are watching. And if you don't practice mindfulness, maybe a great way to get started, if you want to, is, you know, downloading those apps that we mentioned earlier. They're free. Headspace and Calm are two of them, and they have those free guided meditations. It's a quick, easy way to get started. Or again, shout out to my classmates, Hannah and Andy. They both have 2 episodes that are yoga based, and an episode on gratitude, both 2 forms of mindfulness. So maybe even watching those 2 episodes could give you a head start. Either way, I wish everyone the best and have a great week.
Hey everyone, it's Luke Freese from Elon CARES. Thank you so much for stopping in and watching our video. If you want to watch our most recent one, click over here. If you want to learn a little bit more about us, click down below on the social media. And before you leave, comment about your favorite part from this episode down below, okay? Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.